Are you in the process of starting a new career in real estate while thinking about starting a family, or a new mom thinking about transitioning careers? Well, then this video is for you, because I'm going to be covering everything what it's like to start a real estate program while being pregnant, and starting a brand new career while being a new mom, taking care of a newborn and a toddler, and transitioning to making real estate a full-time career. My name is Tharmila Rajasingam. I'm a real estate agent with eXp Realty and I'm based in Toronto, Ontario. Please subscribe to our channel, hit the like button and hit the notification bell to get updates on new content. And this is another video that's so timely. As you can see from my background, I'm not in my usual home office today. I'm actually at my sister's place because my children are home today, they're sick. So I wanted to reduce as much background noise as possible in this video. So again, another example of juggling work life and family life. So this is a 3-part series, so make sure you catch the other 2 where I'm going to be talking about a number of different topics. And today I'm going to be covering what it's like when I started a brand new program while being pregnant. So to give you a little bit of context, when I was on my first mat leave with my son, I actually became pregnant about 6 months in. And around maybe 2-3 months into the pregnancy, my first trimester, my husband and I had this wild idea of getting into real estate. And as you know from watching our other content, we were actually in the field, in the industry as real estate investors. And we wanted to get our license so that we can get well acquainted with some of our joint venture partners, have more access to information on the back end. So we didn't really get our license to become real estate agent to work in the career. However, a lot of things has changed since then, especially after when I joined my new brokerage. So it was a little under 2 years ago and my husband and I decided to take the real estate program here in Ontario together. And remember, I was in my first trimester. My first son was about 6-7 years old, maybe 8 months at that time. And on top of that, our real estate program, so our real estate program is with Humber Real Estate in Ontario, and it actually switched from OREA, which used to be another entity that oversaw the educational program, and Humber College took over. And a lot of, obviously, when a new program comes into perspective, the educational institution has to get used to this virtual programming. So as you could imagine, there was a lot of kinks, and I was one of those people that were going through the first wave that got hit with a lot of growing pains, let's say. And it'll make a lot of sense when I give you some examples of what I was going through while taking my exam and while being pregnant. I wanted to mention the reason why I'm doing this video is because I had a lot of women actually from my YouTube channel reached out to me because I'm a young mom, I'm a new mom, and I was juggling my full-time job as well as a career in real estate, and they wanted to know what it was like juggling family life and while being pregnant through all of this and having 2 young babies, what it was like. So another common question I always get is, should we wait to have children and start the program, or maybe finish the program, start the career, and then think about having family? And I want to make sure that I answer all of this in this video today. So for those of you that never looked into the real estate program here in Ontario, just to give you a little bit more information before I dive into some of my own personal experience. So remember, the real estate program with Humber College, there's 5 courses and there's 2 simulation sessions. Again, I'll get into what that all means in a second. And you also have 6 exams. And this is all during the pre-registration phase. And if you're in any of the Facebook groups online, you can see a lot of people have finished as early as 4 months, 6 months. I think I finished it anywhere between 6 to 8 months. And to be honest, I would have completed sooner if it hadn't been for Humber College and a lot of technical difficulties that we faced because of their transition from doing COVID time going virtual with all of their exams. And I'll give you a little bit of warning, course 2 is like a monster, it's a giant program, so make sure you take your time and have some plan for it. The crazy part is when I was going through this program, not only did I just give birth a couple of months ago, so I was dealing with breastfeeding, just figuring out, struggling with postpartum anxiety, and on top of that, being pregnant. So to me, one of the things that I was able to do this was my husband and I took the program together. So we were testing each other out. I had a study buddy. And to be honest, when I was taking this program, it kind of kept my mind off of a lot of things that I was going through as a new mom. Everything from baby blues to postpartum anxiety and figuring out my place in the world as a new mom. Everything you could imagine I was dealing with. And above and beyond that, I actually had a C-section with both my babies. So as you could imagine what the recovery would have been like. And again, if you're keeping an eye on my social media platform, you can see that I'm interviewing a lot of other parents that are in the real estate space. So if you resonate with my story and you want to get in touch with me and have a conversation on our YouTube channel, please let me know. So the challenging part about all of this is we were on course 2. I even booked my exam to go do it in person. And guess what? The pandemic hits in March. So now Humber College delays all of their exams. They're scrambling to find a solution to go online. And obviously, as new students who are going through this first wave of new education that Humber took on, we got caught in the crossfire. And ton of learning experience and growing pains, and to be honest, have patience. And then course 3 came along, another challenging course, as a lot of you can agree with. So for course 3 exam, we were using Track. So this is the online virtual exam option that Humber College had. So again, they're only a couple of weeks in using the software. So mind you, I was 7 months pregnant and I got an accommodation from Humber College to allow me to use the washroom in the event that I needed to. And so if you were pregnant or suffer from sciatica pains, you know what that's like when you're sitting down in one area for a long period of time. So I got some accommodations so that I can move around as well. And remember, these exams are 3 hours long. So I'm gonna walk you through the exam. So I found a comfortable space in the edge of my bed in my bedroom. I got both the cameras pointed at me, so you use a phone camera to point at you from one direction and the other in front of you, so your laptop. And I'm sitting at the edge of my bed in the most comfortable chair I can find with my legs wide open. And I even used a pillow on my back. Again, I'm 7 months pregnant, right? And you're allowed to have a clear water bottle with nothing on it. So of course I needed water. The exam starts and I'm having trouble logging in, and someone remotely, I'm waiting now 20 minutes, 30 minutes go by. Finally, somebody comes to help. And again, all of this virtually. So now the exam finally starts. Now I'm about 45 minutes in, and then about maybe 11th or 19th question, all of a sudden, every single question starts freezing. And now I'm vigorously messaging someone, a liaison on the software end of the Partner track, saying, hey, something isn't working for me, can you check? And obviously they're taking forever to come reach to me. Now I'm about almost 2 hours in, struggling with question by question, and they're freezing. So I'm not even sure if my questions or my attempts are even being registered. And then now I'm 2 hours in, and all of a sudden the software or the program, my browser freezes and it said it's lapsed. And I'm freaking out thinking that I'm 2 hours in, I'm messaging the Portrait Track person and they said, I'm so sorry, there's nothing we can do about it. You have to call Humber College and get in touch with them, and you have to reschedule the exam. And you could imagine how furious I was given my situation. So the part that I forgot to cover the most in between all of this was happening, I had to use the washroom and I needed to stretch. So I messaged the person while doing my exam that, hey, I have an accommodation, which I had printed. So I said, hey, this is my accommodation, which you were given ahead of time. Just letting you know I'm gonna take that washroom break. So once I put in the request, I'm waiting for them to respond to me to accept my accommodation. And now it's going to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And I'm asking them, hey, do you mind? I have an accommodation. I'm gonna stand up. I need to use the washroom. As you can see, and I'm pointing at my tummy, I'm 7 months pregnant, and I'm super furious at this point as everything's just going slow as well, right? And they're taking forever to get back to me. As you could imagine, they might have been dealing with other issues with other exams as well. So, and then they returned back to me and said, I'm sorry, ma'am, if you get up out of your chair, we will have to dismiss you. And at this point, I'm pointing at my accommodation given to me by Humber College saying, no, this should have been shared with you. I have an exam booked today with the accommodation. You need to let me stand up. I'm 7 months pregnant. Then I get another reply saying, no, ma'am, you will be removed from this exam if you were to move out of your chair. And as you can imagine, at this point, I'm super furious. I actually grabbed my phone and I called Humber College in front of them, because at this point, I didn't care. And I put Humber College on speakerphone and I'm calling them, and they actually couldn't help me because they said, you have to email such and such number. And you could imagine what I was feeling at that moment. So long story short, my first exam never happened. I had to rebook it. Humber College apologized. They said they sent in another accommodation for my second attempt at course 3 exam. And I assured them that they have to let me use the washroom. This is a 3-hour exam and they didn't allow me. So right before the exam even started, I spoke to the liaison at Portrait Track and I let them know, hey, this happened to me in my first attempt. I need you to know that I will be standing up. I will give you a heads up when I do that. I need to use the washroom and here's my accommodation. And once they've agreed and gave me a thumbs up that they have my accommodation, I didn't even start my exam. So this is a good advice. And to be honest, all of this was happening because of COVID and pandemic started, or I would have just gone into the physical location like I did course 1. Because if you were to go through any troubles, you could just speak to somebody in person, right? So now I passed my course 3 and I'm on to course 4. And I, like anybody else, I like to skip through, which I highly suggest you do. I skip through the full program. You just click through the whole thing, the course, and you book your exam so that you're on schedule. Highly recommend doing that. It saves you a ton of time, and then you go back and study the course. So I'm on to course 4 and I booked the exam around mid to end of June. Now I'm at the beginning of June, I started getting contractions. And a lot of people say this, in your second baby, it might come a little early, right? But I didn't think so because I had C-section. So anyway, so at the beginning of June now, I started getting contractions. I had an emergency C-section. And because my son was premature, he was admitted to NICU. Now having a toddler at home, given birth through C-section, my baby in NICU, and on top of that, during a pandemic. So for any parent that went through giving birth, a COVID baby, let's say during the pandemic, you could imagine the struggle of arranging childcare above and beyond this. And thankfully, my sister was there to help me, and we were able to somehow survive this part. And I had an exam scheduled. So exams are $100 per attempt with Humber College. So they take $50 off if you were to cancel it. Josh, my husband, said, hey, why don't you just take it? There are a lot going on. And again, this is going to be a virtual exam, so I just took it at home. So while Josh was at NICU taking care of our newborn, my sister was taking care of my toddler, I was in my bedroom taking course for exam. And remember, I just given birth 3 weeks in, I had a C-section, so again, another uncomfortable stage. And you're probably wondering why I put myself through all of this. I'm also wondering that too. So now I continued with the rest of the program while taking care of a newborn, breastfeeding. I even took turns talking to my professors in simulation class between breaks to breastfeed my son. So because I was taking this full program while I was on my mat leave, while being pregnant, and Josh was still at his full-time job, him and I would study together in the evenings, and we would help each other click through the program and book the exams and kind of prepare for the exams together. So if you're in a similar situation like me, honestly, the program is challenging, and scheduling and juggling and multiple things is challenging. I'm going to be honest with you, this is one of the hardest things that I've ever done, maybe given my situation. And I will tell you, this is one of the most challenging courses that I've ever taken, and again, given my situation. And this wasn't my first rodeo. And in my early 20s, I did go to University of Toronto and received my degree. And right after that, I did a postgrad in sports and events marketing. And at this point, I worked almost about 7 years working for government and not-for-profit in marketing. So given all of that, I will admit that this program is challenging and it requires a little bit of planning. So while juggling all of this, my biggest advice to you is stick to a schedule. Make sure you carve out some study time. The most important is just keep going. And after speaking to a lot of people that went through this program, you'll notice that you tend to overthink everything, thinking that if you remembered the right thing from the slides. Honestly, just sometimes let your subconscious mind do the work. Honestly, once you've gone through the full course and read it, you'll realize that some things will come to you when you're doing the exam. There's tons of different study tools that you can take to study for the program. And check out this video that my husband Josh did on Humber Real Estate exam resources. While juggling new parenthood, I'm a living proof that this is possible. And you may meet people that may say put family planning aside or take the program after having family or vice versa. I want you to do what's best for you. I went through a lot of things as a child and growing up in my early adulthood. So for me, this was just another challenging experience. And I didn't have a lot of resources, but I know I had my husband and my sister to help me out as much as possible throughout this process. So make sure you're dipping into the people around you and asking for help. Remember, reaching out is a sense of strength and not weakness. And check out the rest of the series where this is part 1. I have part 2 and 3 where I cover what it's like starting a new career, having a newborn, and the mindset to start a career in real estate as a new mom. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all or want to get in touch with me, you can find the information in my description below. I'm a global team leader here at eXp Realty, where I partner with agents across the world to growing and scaling their real estate business. If you want to learn more about joining a group or partnering with me, again, check out the Calendly link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Tharmila Rajasingam, real estate agent with eXp Realty, and I'm based in Toronto. I'll see you next time.